This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Follow this equation. Christina Bobb, former lawyer for Donald Trump, is not Jennifer Little, current lawyer for Donald Trump. What am I talking about? You just can't keep track of all Donald Trump's lawyers and who's cooperating with Jack Smith or any of the prosecutors at any given moment. You need a scorecard. And what we learned today is that attorney number two, lawyer number two in the indictment in Mar-a-Lago involving the obstruction of justice and the Espionage Act, the retention of documents that didn't belong to Donald Trump, national defense information and classified top secret documents that belong to you and me and the National Archive. There was a role for Jennifer Little. There was a comment in the indictment that a attorney identified as attorney number two, which we always suspected was Christina Bobb, hold that thought, I'll explain why, had told Donald Trump to his face that he may have held back documents from the National Archive and escaped criminal liability, but if he played a shell game and withheld documents now that the subpoena had been served on Donald Trump related to the Mar-a-Lago documents issued out of the District of Columbia through Chief Judge at the time, Beryl Howell, if he did not properly comply with that judge's orders to turn over whatever he had at that moment, right? Musical chairs over, music stopped, grab a chair, produce the documents, whatever you got, wherever they are. If you don't do it, Jennifer Little told Donald Trump to his face as an attorney to a client, you're going to commit a crime. It's a crime. And she has told Jack Smith's prosecutors, because she's cooperating with them, she's forced and compelled to testify to the grand jury. She already testified to the grand jury in the District of Columbia because Chief Judge at the time, Beryl Howell, forced her to, meaning she stripped Donald Trump of his attorney-client privilege related to Evan Corcoran, his lead lawyer in Mar-a-Lago, Jennifer Little, Christina Bobb, and everybody else that was involved related to the document and the shell game that Donald Trump played. This new critical piece of evidence, is we're always wondering, it's like a head scratcher. Who is lawyer number two? We thought it was Christina Bobb. Sort of made sense, even though she didn't really do much of the searching and meeting. When it came time for Evan Corcoran to certify to the government that everything that he found, hold that thought for a moment, everything that was made available to him by Donald Trump after Walt Nauta, his butler, and Carlos de Oliveira, the maintenance worker, took dozens of boxes away, which, of course, Evan Corcoran didn't know about, although he let Donald Trump have almost 2 weeks to move boxes around before he came back to review them. When he finished his review, Evan Corcoran, that took him less than an hour, he came out with about 36 documents, top secret classified. He sealed them in an envelope to turn them over to the Department of Justice and certify that that was all that Donald Trump still retained. This is before the search warrant was executed, because we knew that was a lie, because the Department of Justice had information that indicated that that was a lie from other witnesses that were cooperating with the special counsel, including former executive assistants and secretaries for Donald Trump who talked at length about the movement of boxes and documents before Evan Corcoran searched. But when Evan Corcoran had to certify, he didn't even certify. He threw Christina Bobb, another lawyer, to the wolves, had her sign her name on it, attesting that everything in that envelope, to the best of her knowledge, represented the total universe of top secret documents. So we thought, okay, it's probably Christina Bobb that also gave Donald Trump the advice that he'll commit a crime if he doesn't properly comply with the subpoena. Because Donald Trump asked, what if I don't comply with the subpoena? This is where the crime fraud exception of the attorney-client privilege comes into play. You can tell your client anything. You can tell your lawyer anything, as a client, and it's protected generally by a privilege, unless you're trying to commit a crime or a fraud, and you're using the lawyer to facilitate that. And then the court and the law can strip you of your attorney-client privilege, leave you bare, and force the lawyer to testify against you. Again, Christina Bobb testified, Jennifer Little testified, Evan Corcoran testified, just related to Mar-a-Lago and others. And so we knew Jennifer Little had gone in to kind of connect these disparate dots. We knew Jennifer Little had gone into the grand jury a long time ago. And we knew she probably got stripped. If she's testifying, then she's testifying with the no protection of attorney-client privilege. We just didn't know she was the one referenced in the indictment in Mar-a-Lago as being the person who purposely went. She told Jack Smith's team, I wanted to go to the meeting in person so that he could hear it from me, that whatever he did before in playing games with the National Archive wasn't a crime at that moment, but he was about to cross the line into criminal conduct. And bombshell, Donald Trump told her he understood. Goes to mens rea. Now, after that meeting, and after trying to figure out from his two lawyers, Corcoran and Little, whether he could hide the ball, not produce the documents, make them disappear, and was told uncategorically no by both of them, here's the big mistake that was made, or even on purpose. Evan Corcoran turned his back on Donald Trump for a week and a half, left Mar-a-Lago, didn't force Donald Trump to make those documents available to him right now to review. And in that week and a half time, Donald Trump, as the indictment alleges, the superseding indictment, the second indictment alleges, utilizing people like his executive assistant and the maintenance man and his butler, started taking boxes away and out of the room before Evan Corcoran could return and review them. So by the time Evan Corcoran got back, boxes that he didn't even know existed were gone because the idiot didn't take an inventory before and after. Like, take a before and after picture, Evan. Especially when you're dealing with Donald Trump. Take a picture of all the boxes in the room. Maybe have them numbered 1 through 42. When you come back and there's only 1 through 28, you might have a problem, especially if you have to certify to the government that your independent analysis and research and due diligence is complete. Maybe that's why he had Christina Bobb do it. Sure, let the younger women lawyer sign on the dotted line with her oath. But now we know that Jennifer Little, and this also answers another question. Some of the media reports this is a bombshell. This answers the question that Jennifer Little was lawyer number 2, and it wasn't Boris Epshteyn. I got news for people that are just getting late to this game. We never thought it was Boris Epshteyn. Boris Epshteyn has a lot to do as the fixer, the Michael Clayton, the former Michael Cohen, currently for Donald Trump. He's coordinating the fake electors. He's hiring all of the lawyers that are representing Donald Trump. He's getting all the criminal defense team together. He's showing up in the courtrooms during arraignments and indictments, and he's giving advice to Donald Trump. We didn't think he was the guy that said, because we don't think that he has a conscience or knows what he's doing as a lawyer, hey, boss, you may commit a crime if you don't turn these documents over pursuant to the court-ordered subpoena. That was never Boris Epshteyn. I don't know why that's reporting right now. We thought it may be, as I outlined, Christina Bobb. Made more sense. The person that Evan Corcoran just, we have a phrase in the law and in life, Evan Corcoran threw a hospital pass to Christina Bobb. Look it up. You'll know what I'm talking about. He laid out a pass in the middle of the field and she got clobbered. And they call that a hospital pass. And that's what he did. But we should have, and I'll be upfront here, we should have suspected that it was Jennifer Little because we knew she testified, obviously with no attorney-client privilege to protect her, and she's still one of the only lawyers on the defense team for Donald Trump because you keep your friends closer and your enemies closer. You keep your lawyers who may testify against you or have testified against you, you keep them on the payroll. And even though Donald Trump fired one round of lawyers in Georgia, right? He kept Jennifer Little. Now we know why, right? Because he just wants to keep her close, keep her tethered to his world. And she's already harmed him, though. That's the problem with Donald Trump. He's cleaning up after the spilt milk. Cow's already left the barn. Insert your own metaphor here. She's already cooperated and given Jack Smith what he needs about her interactions with her client and her client, Donald Trump's reactions back to him to piece together what happened at Mar-a-Lago. We like to talk about Aileen Cannon, the judge, almost called her the defense lawyer for Donald Trump, the judge in the Mar-a-Lago case, because she's immature professionally, she's inexperienced, looks like she's siding and putting her big fat thumb on the scales of justice for Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a trial. I don't know if that trial is going to be in May of 2024 or some other time, but eventually there's going to be a trial. And people like Jennifer Little, or current lawyer for Donald Trump are going to be put on the stand to testify about Mar-a-Lago, right? Yuscil Taveras, the IT director who turns Fed evidence, who's cooperating with the feds, is going to testify that Donald Trump gave them the command to try to delete the security video footage showing the movement of the boxes. Nothing shows criminal mind more than trying to cover up for a crime. And that's what Yuscil Taveras is going to testify to. I don't know if Walt Nauta, the butler valet guy, is going to finally flip on Donald Trump. I'm not sure they need it. There is overwhelming amount of evidence about Donald Trump's conduct and his lack of a defense to him keeping hundreds and hundreds of documents that fall into the category of national defense information, top secret and or classified beyond the expiration date because he was no longer president. We'll continue to follow what is happening and the revelations, leaks, strategic or otherwise, about testimony. One place, you know where, the MeidasTouch Network, on this YouTube channel. And I'll do it on a podcast that we curate, do for about an hour twice a week, called Legal AF. Yes, it's what you think, at the intersection of law and politics and justice. I do it on Wednesdays with Karen Friedman Niflo, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I do it on Saturdays with Ben Meiselas. Until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram, @MeidasTouch, to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.